I was not going to video today, but I'm whipping through chores before going to town, and it looks like there's a teeny itty bitty pieces of wax on Sugar's teats. So let's look. Do you see it? Do you really? 'Cause I see it. I do believe we might have some wax. That's her udder from behind. I wanted to check her behind. It's a little bit more elongated than yesterday, but not overly puffy. But look at this sharpness. You can just see the sharpness here. She's got quite it is all very jiggly all throughout here, and this is really sunk in. She hasn't had any tail resistance for a while, but her tail head is quite exposed. It's hard to tell how much she's dropped in here just because she is sway back as well, but I don't know, guys. That sure looks an awful lot like some wax to me. She's been very irritable from me checking things out down here for a while. It still kind of looks a little bit clearish, but like I told my husband the other day, it definitely feels tacky. Let's take a look at this side. Oh, easy, girl. Easy, I know. She's just very mad. Yeah. Of course, this side's dirty. I would love to clean it off, but she's stamping around. Okay. Okay, yep, nope. Let's not get kicked in the face today. Okay, Sugar. I don't know. It's hard to say. We're on your clock now, honey. She's a little bit dirty because I think she laid down in some poop. I did clean out her stall last night, but as you can see, they make quite a mess, even just overnight. All right, Sugar, I guess I better get to town and get all the things I need so I can stay home for the next few days. Right? Right. That's how that's gonna go. Okay, well, this is going to be really terrible footage because of the lighting in here, but when you have had a really long day, it's not even like it's been bad, it's just been a long day, and you're exhausted. I just went to milk, and for the second night in a row, Miss Rose here has stepped in the bucket of milk. Let me show you. And it's in my milking shed, which means that it has a floor that is not very well easy to mop, and it is everywhere. Everywhere. And because I milked her first, now my bucket is dirty, and so I can't milk my next goat, Reba, without first either washing this, or I just milk and feed it to the dogs, or water the garden with it. And this bag of feed, the bottom is now going to be soaking wet with milk. This is my brand new bag of mineral, and I know the floor looks disgusting because it is, because for this reason, because I don't have washable surfaces. It's just been a piece it together, and it gets me out of the weather when it's raining or it's snowing and it's blowing or whatever. But when it's nice outside, I would way rather milk outside. Problem being is then I have to have all of my iodine, all of my grain, all of my grain pans and everything set up in 2 different places, and it's nice to have a routine, to stick with it, and that's the routine. But I avoid this milking shed at many costs because, number 1, the floor is disgusting. Number 2, it's cramped in here because switching to the Nubians, this room is very, very small. This is literally it. It's from here to this wall. It's about 5 feet by maybe 8, 6, 6.5. And this stand, I'm sorry, this is gonna sound really trivial and really stupid and like a first world problem, because in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. It's just the things that are incredibly frustrating when things don't go smoothly, and this is one of those things. This milk stand does not fit through the doorway because we put the milk stand in first and then my husband built the doorway. And so I have tried taking the milk stand out, but I have to unscrew the whole thing and then take it out. And that does not solve the problem of having washable surfaces. I want to have like a floor. Milk's running everywhere. It's running everywhere. I'm sorry. I don't even know why I'm crying about this. Don't cry about spilt milk. It's just been a day where I feel like I got a lot of stuff done, and I saw a lot of progress made around the yard and cleaning stuff up and putting garbage away, and there's just been a few things that have happened that have just really, really irked me and driven me nuts. And I guess it's one of those raw and real moments where I don't want to share it with you, but because it feels stupid. But having milk run all over the floor, which is then going to, I can try to mop it up or soak it up as best as I can, but it's not like I can come with a pail of a mop and a scrubby brush and wash it unless I also dry it afterwards. And there's a massive bumblebee above my head. This is my roof. It's just a piece of poly tarp. And I'm pretty convinced the bumblebees are building a nest above me. So the floor gets, like, they track in mud and yuck from their hooves when they come in the shed, the milking parlor, if you want to even call it that. And it just gets dirty. And then when I wash their udders, anything that drips, the iodine that drips off of their teats drips all over the floor. It creates this sticky mess of manure and grain and dust and dirt and mud. And yes, sticky spilt milk. And yes, I sweep it as best I can. I scrape it down as best I can, but it's just never clean. So yes, the udders are clean. I am very careful that the milk that hits the pail is clean. And I do not have any concerns there, even though the floor looks disgusting. But how clean... Again, I gotta be careful what I say because I know my milk is clean. But it makes it more challenging to keep your milk clean and safe if your environment is not clean enough. Which you've seen, my milking video, I milked outside in the grass. And honestly, I would way prefer that as long as it's not like raining and snowing and blowing pollen and bugs into my milk. I would way prefer that than being in a room unless I have the ability to clean it. I'm just pissed off because yesterday the same thing happened where I was almost done milking and Rose stepped in the pail. And usually I'm quick. I can grab that pail out of there. But my wrists have been sore and aching and I use them a lot. And so it's just pain coupled with, like, it's late at night and I'm exhausted. So tired. And then you add that and you're like, that's one more thing that I have to figure out. It's one more problem I have to solve. And the other aspect of it is that I can only do so much and the rest falls on my husband. I'm sorry that I'm sobbing and I'm like being emotional. I genuinely apologize for that. I have big feelings right now. Suck it up. It's gonna be fine. I'm not looking for like a, oh poor you. It's just that this is just the it's silly and ridiculous and I know that and it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. It's just it's been everything compiled together that has just come to the surface right now. And this was kind of the last straw tonight. So yeah, I need to solve another problem, but that means then that I have to get my husband involved because there's only so much that I can do. There's only so many skills that I have to be able to build things and build things properly so that they last. And my husband works hard, guys. Like, he's a hard-working man, and I feel bad for when I put more pressure on him, and I'm like, oh, but hey, then there's also this. Can you please do this? And now we gotta buy materials for that, too. And it's gonna be fine. And it drained all the way back in there. And I know some of you are going to cringe at the floor in here. This is why I don't readily choose to milk in here. But what gets dirty is the bottom of the pail, I promise. It's not like the dirt on the floor is jumping into my pail. But there you have it. There's my mess. June 27th. Still rocking the straw hat. And her big old pregnant belly still. Sugar, sweetheart. You are determined to make us go crazy. We want to see your baby. But most of all, we want to to see if you feel better with all that baby weight off of your feet. Yep, another sleepless night. Okay, the milk stand has been taken apart and has been tried to be knocked over. Willow? No, there's nothing up there. I had to literally, come on, seriously, don't be dumb, get off. Yikes. I had to unscrew the whole head gate part from the stand in order to get it out of the door. But it is done, it is apart, and now I get to figure out if I want to repurpose the head gate part and just rebuild the stand. What is the deal? I know you guys smell grain, but there's nothing on there. Yeah, it's just not good. We put these screws here to hold the tub of grain in place. Didn't work that well. They just flip it over with their nose. So I want something that sits right in there. So I need to like jigsaw a hole through for a specific feed bin. And we've got a bee or a hornet of some kind. Anyways, so that's that. And now I'm going to see what to do in here. Yes, I know I'm embarrassed even showing it to you. This is why I have not been using the milk shed. It's been a home for buckets and electrical cords and feed sacks and garbage and insulation that has come off the walls because there hasn't been plywood that's covered it, and a roof that's just poly, and then on top of that there's like an actual roof further up there, but it's unfinished. Sharp edges of tin, and yeah, I mean, like I've said last night when I was crying, it gets me out of the wind and the rain, and so for that I'm thankful, but it is not good enough anymore. And I hate saying that because, well, my husband built it. Well, what do you do when something no longer serves your purposes anymore? And so you need to make changes. So I have to now decide if I want to convert this into a kidding stall, and figure out something else entirely for like a kind of a milking parlor idea, or if I want to try and make this work for a milking parlor type of thing. I'm thinking it's a bit small, but we will see what we can brainstorm. Now it looks like even more of a disaster out here. I tried to move those things, and they're just old walls off of a different, like a shop, and they're very, very, very heavy, which is probably why my arms and my wrists are really complaining. But now it looks like even more of a dumpster fire, so gotta love that. Gotta love it. Oh, well. I have some ideas as far as some changes and updates that I can make when it comes to the milking shed. I'm doing some research as well with trying to figure out what milking machine would be best to use. Just as of lately, my wrists, my hands have really started to give me grief. I use them a lot, obviously, and milking takes a lot of effort. Right now it's okay because I'm down to milking once a day and only milking 2 does. However, at peak, when I'm milking 5 does at the same time, it's going to be, I think, probably too challenging to try to milk them all by hand. The milkers that I'm looking at would allow me to milk 2 does at the exact same time, as well as they would have inline milk filters, which, if you've never milked a goat, let me explain it to you. So I milk the goats, and then I take that milk inside the house, and then I put it through the strainer. If you want, you can check out my newbie, like the milk video that I made, and you will see the process of having to take it out of the bulk tank, dump it into jars through a filter. So basically, with having an inline milk filter, as it's milking, the milk that is hitting the bulk tank is already filtered, it's already clean, and so that milk from the bulk tank can go directly into my glass mason jars, which would be a huge time saver every single day to not have to manually filter all of the milk. So that is one thing that would be a huge perk, just to cut down on just the sheer amount of time it takes to filter that much milk. If I'm milking 5 does at a time, on the low end, it's not, like, maybe take an average 2 liters per doe per milking. So that's 10 liters of milk, probably on the minimum side, that I'd be having to filter. Some of the other does, they're upwards of 3 or 4 liters per milking. So it's going to be a lot of milk flowing, and I need to be able to handle it as quickly and cleanly as possible. And I think that having a milk machine would allow that. So there's just a lot of stuff to process. To use the milking machines, I would like to have some sort of a head gate for the goats where I can even put them up on a milk stand. But I do not like the wooden one that I had been using. I need to have like a metal type of grate, just because it allows the dirt and stuff to fall through. You can wipe them really clean. Either that, or I have to get some sort of like a black mat topper on the milk stand so that they don't slip around and it's easy to wipe and wash. Those are kind of the big concerns there. So it's just there's a lot of figuring that needs to happen right now, and obviously money does not grow on trees. So there's a whole nother aspect to that, is the financial aspect, and I would love to invest in a really good milk machine. There's a couple that I'm looking at, but you're looking at between $1,300 to $2,000 Canadian. So and most of like the milkers that are really good, they come from the States, and then we have to ship them to Canada. So then that's another $250 to ship them to Canada. Again, States pricing there. So there's a lot of research that has to happen beforehand. But as you saw from my emotional aspect of this video, which it's part of life, it's part of being frustrated by things that no longer work, I would like to invest in a milk machine. For that's part of the reason, because you're pumping milk directly into a tank. For whatever reason, if they kick a hose off, they're not going to spill your whole bucket or make your whole bucket dirty and gross to the point where you have to dump it. So lots of things to consider. I'm very tired is the other thing, which is why the emotions run a little bit higher, is because I just have not been getting much sleep. I have the camera monitor on. See, my brain's so tired I can't even think of this. The camera's on Sugar, and the monitor's right beside my bed. So I'm waking up every 30 minutes to an hour, checking on the monitor, seeing what Sugar's up to, see what she's doing. And so it's been several nights of that, and as we wait for her foal, and I'm dog tired, I'm beat, and there's just, I say this a lot, but there's a lot of stuff that has to get done. Summer is just chaos for a variety of reasons. Summer, it feels so short here, and it feels like it's barely started, but yet we're also like, it's almost July already, and then really July and August is kind of our summer, and September it's already starting to be fall, where the leaves start changing towards the end of August, and garden harvest happens beginning of August type of thing. September rolls around, and boy, things change pretty quickly. So it just feels like some of the jobs they need to get tackled soon, and I'm trying to pace myself, trying not to do it all at once, but it's challenging when you're like, I just want to get it done. But I don't know if you're ever actually done when it comes to farming type of stuff. So anyways, everybody's kind of lounging around this afternoon, all happy and munching their food. Miss Rose, the one that caused all the trouble last night, you, my dear, are silly. Here's Miss Winnie, the one that I was telling you about, her bit of her underbite with her jaw. Here's the mess. Because, you know, gotta make a mess in order to fix the mess. And we've got some sort of sores on her nose, which I'm not quite sure. She has a couple dry spots, and so does Willow. Willow, are you gonna look? Of course not. Hey, Willow. She has a couple sore spots on her nose too. So I can't seem to get a break. Mr. Grant here, I was hoping to have babies in November, but I don't think that's going to happen because none of the girls are going into heat because it's not really breeding season. And Grant is showing absolutely zero interest in the ladies at this point. So, yeah, I might have to separate them out and just wait till everybody starts showing like they're ready for breeding season. It's so fun making plans and then realizing, oh, that plan's really not, hey, don't bite me, you have sharp teeth. Then you realize the plan's really not going to work. The reason why I wanted to breed a couple of them for November kidding was because I really wanted to have milk year round. And if I want the rest of them to kid, hey, chewing my hair. If I want the rest of them to kid in January, then I need to dry off Reba and Rose in like the beginning of November. So I was hoping to breed for November so I could have a freshened supply of milk in November. But I don't think that's going to happen. Hi, babies. Is it bottle time? Yeah. So anyways, that's that. Thanks for joining me. It's a tired day over here. All right, well, I will see you next time.